Welcome in, Minnesota high school football fans. I'm here with Spring Lake Park head coach, Coach Stewart, coming off a big season last year. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great, just enjoying some time in August before we get started.
Before we start, I kind of like getting the career history of the coaches. So, tell me a little bit about your story coaching and what let you, what was the path to getting here?
Oh man, well, way back in 2000, I started over at Irondale actually, so not at Spring Lake Park my whole career. Coached there for a few years, and in the teaching world, sometimes jobs don't work out, and ended up going to Spring Lake Park in 2003 as a sophomore coach. As time went on, I moved up to be the O-line coach there for a while, offensive coordinator for Jeff Schlief for probably 15 years. He retired in 20 after the 2017 season, and at that time decided, if I wanted to be a head coach, this was a great opportunity to go ahead and give it a shot. And in 2018, got to take over a pretty historic program, I think, and have been doing it ever since.
What's your program motto? Every program has a motto or kind of thing that their head coach kind of wants to instill in the program. What is it for Spring Lake Park?
Um, we've had a pyramid of success since before my time. I think one of the things we've really worked to talk about is we want to bring honor to the program, to the school, and the community. And we're going to do that by doing three things. We're going to show up, we're going to do the work, and we're going to be noble. And then there's some values that go underneath each of those things, but that's the gist of what's at the core of the program.
Yeah, that's cool because I saw we'll get to talking about. I want to hear your thoughts on last season before we skip ahead because I think the season you guys had last year should be talked about one last time before we kind of flip the page and get on to the season.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess just talk about overall last year. Did you before the season? Could you kind of like sense it, or was it kind of like during the season you're like, oh, okay, I think this could
Um,
turn into a state team?
we knew that the group of seniors was going to be a good group. They had some strong seasons growing up through the youth program. My youngest son was in that class, and we'd come off a couple of rough years. And a lot of them had played as sophomores. We were 4-5, and then as juniors they were 4-6, and so everybody kind of knew that we would need to do some things different. We need to recommit to some of the things that Spring Lake Park football has been about. And I would say we did a scrimmage with Centennial in the summer. We had an idea then, like, okay, these guys are going to compete. Centennial's a pretty top tier program in 6A, and
Yep.
we kind of held our own there and felt like, all right, it's July, but these guys have a different sense of purpose. And then as the season went on, we started in a good spot. Two Rivers was a team we never played before, so that was kind of a fun game. But one of the differences there was like going into a game one with a bunch of seniors who had played is way different. Like they're like, whatever, coach, it's another game, it's another season. Let's just go get this done. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
inexperienced group, you're like, okay, the bright, big bright lights and everything.
Right.
But I would say probably right around homecoming, which was I think week 5, maybe played a tough. I don't remember which team, but right around there, we'd won a homecoming for the first time in a few years. We played a good Armstrong team that we were able to play with. Buffalo coming back down from 6A was a big game. Brainerd gave us fits, and then you just started to see that we were hitting our stride offensively, defensively. And we have the unique feature of like we play our section as part of our regular season. So you have it's hard to play teams twice, but you also get some good feel on, okay, here's how they played us, here's what we might see. And we're able to get through there pretty well. And then, the getting into the state tournament after that, it was like, okay, guys, let's just go let's go earn another week. Let's go ahead and go play. And it was all, in some sense, like bonus weeks, like just cut it loose and play each week and see what happens. And it ended up being a pretty special state tournament run.
I got a lot of crap from a couple of your players from because first of all, we forgot you when we were doing our
Yeah.
preview. You're like, we missed a team. What team did we miss? And that team ended up going to win. And then during the season, you guys had I would say an easier schedule than a lot of teams. So it's kind of hard to when a good team doesn't. It's just hard when there's no like. Because I mean, Buffalo is probably the best team in your section, but I think there's a level that Buffalo wasn't on. And you guys handled them and what have you. But just when it's doing rankings, it's trying to compare and contrast and take a look at whatever you can. And I think oftentimes, I mean, it was a lesson to me. Like sometimes you just gotta play who you play, and you're kind of just good regardless.
Yeah,
And
we might have had that on our board that we were forgotten. It might have been up there all year. But you're right. You got to play whoever's on the schedule. It's different. Football's different where like the schedule's set for us. And who you get is who you get, and the powers that be decide how they do it, whatever. Where like in basketball and baseball, you get to pick non-conference games, and you can do that according to how whatever your philosophy is. So, probably cheesy coach cliche stuff talking about like keep the focus on ourselves, right? And find the things you got to improve each week. And, whoever you play is whoever you play. And these are the things we want to work on this week and show that we did better to say we're improving. And these guys, that group really bought into that and was able to say like, yep, the room we're in right now is the most important team in the state, right? And whoever we play is just whoever we play that week.
I was trying to find one of the comments because in doing like my pre-interview research and what have you, on your Facebook page, I don't know who runs it, but it was the post about this state championship and whatever. And I just read some of the comments, and it was I'm gonna butcher this because I didn't find it, but it was some dude from like the class of like 80 something whose team wasn't good, and that he just had like this huge amount of pride. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you looked at Facebook comments on the post, but I would
uh,
encourage you to do so if you haven't,
all
just
right.
because uh, it kind of sums up what you're talking about, like the history and making like the program and the people who were in it proud. It was just funny. I wish I could read it on here, but it's on Facebook. It's on your Facebook comments somewhere. But I want to pick
My
it up.
wife actually runs our team Facebook page, so
Okay,
she shares a lot of those with me. I'm not a Facebook guy. I'm not a social media guy, so a lot of that stuff just thankfully other people help me with it. But
right.
there is a strong amount of pride in the community, and it has been super fun to see it while we were doing it. But then as the years gone on, like it's been crazy running into random people. Like I played golf the other week. You get paired up as a single, and I happen to have a Spring Lake Park golf bag, and this guy I'm playing with, we're on the back nine, and finally he says, Spring Lake Park, I'm class of 72. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. Like two randoms at the golf course. All right, let's do it. And then, just things like that. And the amount of excitement, the amount of pride, the amount of just enthusiasm around it was so fun. And that's been there for Panther football. And I hope, continues to be there, and we continue to do things that bring honor to it and make the community proud. But it's been a blast.
And I think it was when you got hired. One of the news articles kind of talked about, um, like winning's good and everything, and you want to win, but football's also a means to like learn life lessons and also like, get
Yeah,
these, kids to become young men, and football is kind of a way to do it. I want to hear your thoughts, not just written on an article, just on that.
sure. You hope so. I think I've been fortunate. A lot of coaches have been influential in my life. I could tell you back in the day in 2000 when I got my first job, the getting into coaching was about being as close to the game as you possibly can when you're done playing. Like that's as close as you can get
Right.
to the action. Coming to Spring Lake Park, working with Jeff Schlief, and seeing how you can use the game as a tool, and you can take the lessons you might learn there and incorporate them into some daily life, and teaching different values of character, teamwork, like the core values, right? To like show up, do the work, be noble. Like you could apply that to any venture. It's been fun. I actually have talked with our music teacher about it a little bit, and he's trying to coordinate, right, an ensemble to play a song. Well, we're trying to do a similar thing with a group of teenage boys, and some of the similarities that regardless of the vehicle, there are some underlying things that matter for everybody, right? Like showing up. Okay, are you on time? Are you accountable? Can we rely on you? Do the work. Are you going to give us your best every day, right? And then being noble. And we talk about that as like doing the right thing. And we've kind of gotten to the point of like talking about like doing the right thing no matter who's watching, right? Like we all know that depending on who you're with, your language might change, right? Like if you're around a bunch of football coaches, that might be a different set of words than you might use when you're hanging out at church. But
Right.
At the end of the day, we're trying to hope that we can teach them some things that later in life will help them. I think part of we moved into the district after my first year, and part of the deal was knowing that like if my boys were going to play, I would want them to be around the men we have on staff, not just to play for me. It's like they're role players. It wasn't a move like that, but it was more like these are guys that I want influencing my kids, right? I want them to know that like, hey, I could call that coach down the road and be like, hey, this is something going on in my life. Can you help me out? And it's a couple of times it's happened.
Yeah, let's get to this season, this upcoming season,
Yeah,
because we're only like 2 weeks away from
I know.
two-a-days, and it seems like it's going by really quick. I guess where do you want to start? How many 7-on-7 scrimmages practices have you guys got to fit in so
Um,
far this summer?
we use the 11 the high school league allows you for practices. Two of those are scrimmages. End of June, Roseville comes over. Their head coach is our former D coordinator, and then end of July, Centennial comes over. And so we use all those up. One of them's like a part-time team building thing, so that's kind of a different day. And then 7-on-7, we don't do a ton.
Yeah.
We have
Well,
we
for
have a
good reason.
league.
You guys don't.
Well, some of it's part of balance, trying to make sure kids have an opportunity to have summer.
Right.
And so it's like a 4-team, I don't know, league. It's us, Forest Lake, Mounds View,
I
and
think I've been to
Centennial, and
one of those a couple years.
we just get
Yeah.
together on Wednesday morning and do the work we need to do, and it's pretty casual. I like that, if someone wants something rerun to coach a kid up, everybody's going to rerun it. Like I can walk over to Coach Beeskow's huddle and be like, hey, what are you doing here? And
Yeah.
he'll share. We're not, getting after each other that way. And that seems to be a pretty good balance of things. I know some teams do more, some do less. At Spring Lake Park, we got to share a lot of athletes. So we've got guys that they go from 7-on-7 and they're running to the basketball court. And it's like, well, okay, at some point we got to think about how much they're doing and trying to keep them fresh and hungry to, get into August 17th and be ready to go.
Yeah. How many guys do you have returning from championship teams? Because I know there's cases where you didn't even
Yeah.
go undefeated and win a championship, and you come back and everybody left, and it's like, okay, we got to restart. But
Yeah.
where's your
So
team?
we defensively we have one returning starter. And so Ian Ayland will be back, and he'll fill a good role there. Offensively, I'd call it 3.5 because some rotated some
Couple
there.
important
So we're
ones
certainly
offensively.
yep, and so we're certainly looking to build on both sides. I think where we sit now, we're in a fine spot. I know that um, things will gel together more come August, but the reality is like we're going to be inexperienced. And as much as we try to do in the summer to get them there, like the first game is going to be way different because there's going to be 17 or so new starters going out there for the first time. And hopefully we can do some things in those 2 weeks to try to get them ready as best we can. But you and I both know, like, you don't know till you know. So that ball's going to get kicked off. We're home opener. So like, it's just going to be what it is that first one.
Yeah. I want to talk about two of kind of the guys that I saw flash at the bank when kind of everybody was
Yeah.
watching that everybody should know, which is your quarterback and one of your receivers, Roach and Conkler.
Yeah.
Just talk about those two and the impact that they have, because I'm assuming with being, a couple of the only guys coming back from that squad, they're going to be big pieces.
Yeah, both have had great summers. They're both, I think, if you saw our game, saw like they're tremendous competitors. Nolan has a great grasp of what we're doing on offense. Week to week, he's got some great ideas of how to attack a defense. We put a lot of responsibility in his hands to let him go ahead and fix plays. Right, like in practice, I'll give him bad plays just to make him fix them. So he's just got a good head for that, and we saw he's a gritty competitor. So we're definitely going to rely on his experience and leadership. Caden, we have Caden's brother played back, Keelan's a few years ago. So Caden's been around. You can see he fits right in out there. He's put together physically. He has a great skill set at wide receiver. He'll play some he played some defense last year, I think, as nickel. He'll probably play some free safety a lot more this year, and look to just probably move him around a little bit on offense to try to incorporate him a little more and utilize his playmaking abilities. Right. But yeah, both of those guys, we're going to rely on not only their physical talents, but just leaning into like them as leaders and as experienced people to maybe help calm things down when they get a little bit harried, and also having been in big games to like, hey, calm down, like we can do this. So on both sides of it, right?
Yep. Are you one of those coaches that sets an expectation going into the season, or are you kind of just let it ride?
Like we don't have a number in mind. I think I used to talk at the parents' meeting about our goal is to overachieve, right? To play one more game than we're supposed to. And year to year, you don't know what that is.
Right.
So I don't know if that's the way of looking at it. I think with these guys, knowing that we're inexperienced, knowing that the regular season is going to be like a training ground, like there's going to be some ups and downs, right? It's going to be so different than it was before. But you know, this team is on its own journey. It's got its own mountain to climb, and the goal is to be, you know, as experienced as you can be, but really playing your best football by the playoffs so that you give yourself the best chance then. And, you know, I think we all know, depending how your playoffs go, the regular season, you know,
right.
If you make a great run in the playoffs, like the regular seasons don't matter much, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time, and I look forward to seeing what you guys can do this season.
Yep. Appreciate what you guys are doing. This is fun stuff.